Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Books Paranormal Podcast. If you're listening to me on Spotify or YouTube, we're here today with Jean, psychic medium, and many other talented things. And she runs a Spirit Connection Facebook page and YouTube and Spotify, or is there many other things, John?
No, just Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Oh, perfect. So, like I say, just a general friendly chat on the weekend. We've struggled arranging this meeting, haven't we? Really, just because of time differences and one thing after another,
Yeah.
and I've let you down different times, but we're here. We've made
Uh,
it.
it's just
So
a miscommunication. It happens. There's a reason why it
yeah,
happens. So,
it's so tricky, like just the time zones, because just as you're waking up, it's too early for you. It's in the evening for me. I'm settling down, and there's no in
right.
between, is there? But let's get cracking. So I wrote down a few questions. The first one I'm going to ask is, Jean, for our listeners who may not know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered that you had psychic medium abilities?
Sure. Um, so, my name is Joanna. I go by the Spirit Connection. I'm located in Washington State, so all the way up in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I am, as you said, a psychic medium and paranormal investigator. So, there's a saying where it says everybody that's a psychic is not always a medium, but everybody that is a medium is not always is always psychic. So
Yeah,
what that is, that's different abilities. Like a psychic has some is someone that has the ability to tune into the energy of like now, past, present, future, and different situations in life, which I have that ability too. And a medium is someone that has the ability to how to get into the spirit world and communicate with the deceased. I discovered my ability when I was very young. I was born and raised in a house that my father was born and raised in, then his mother, and it was like a generational house. It had been in the house, the family for generations, and
a hell of a lot of energy then in the
yeah, a lot
house.
of energy. My grandmother died before I was born, but she passed away in that house, and so I just had always, as a young kid, I would see these what I felt like very loving energies, like in my room, around my bed, kind of in the corner of my eye. I would hear sort of messages and things, and as I got older, I would um, talk to my family about it, and they were like, "Well, how do you know that? That's your grandmother that passed away 8 years before you were born." And I'm it was kind of a strange thing. One, it kind of felt I like one set me aside from the rest of the kids, but at the same time I felt like that experience um, brought me into being a psychic medium in a more loving way than most people, you know, psychic mediums come into their gifts about or learn about it.
Yeah,
I did kind of press it aside for the longest time because I wanted to be quote unquote normal. Um, but that just led to a lot of mental health struggles with anxiety and addiction and depression. And then once I decided that, okay, I'm going to embrace this, which was about 28, 29 years ago, almost 30 years ago, and became sober at that time. And that's when I really started to embrace it and learn to see it as something healing, and dive right into it, go into classes about it, find mentors, get into tarot and things like that. And then along the way, I found myself being drawn into the paranormal investigation world. This is way back in the early days of TAPS and ghost hunters and all that stuff. And
yeah.
I found a local group, and then just started investigating and learned that how my gift can the two are hand in hand. They're like bread and butter, and um, I really learned to use it to help people, and not necessarily spirits because most of them don't need or don't want help, but like the living.
Yeah.
I've investigated a lot of residences and a lot of things like that, and yeah,
I'm so sorry. I don't want to stop you too much in between, but if I don't ask stuff, I forget it straight
yeah,
away. So obviously, I'm a paranormal investigator myself before I started doing all this podcast stuff, and I'm still doing investigations, just not as much. With your abilities, would you say? 'Cause a lot of mediums and psychics say when they're on the way to the venue they're going to, even though they've never been there, they know what they're walking into. they can feel what's
Yes.
there, like you're being welcomed there, and do you get that feeling?
I will start getting like clairvoyant images or clairaudient hearing stuff of what I'm of the energy that I'm walking into. Most of the time it's welcoming. A lot of the time I'm picking up on residual energy of events that happen that are kind of still playing out. But
Yeah,
yes, I definitely do pick up on them beforehand.
interesting. You still do paranormal investigations yourself now? Are you part of a team
I
or anything?
do. I do. I'm not. I'm still kind of on the team, but the team is kind of on a hiatus. So the last couple of months, I've been. I live in the Pacific Northwest, where we have like a lot of history here. So, been
Yeah,
investigating things like pioneer cemeteries and the Oregon Trail and things like that that are just free that I could just go to. I wouldn't necessarily have to make
yeah.
an appointment or
I've been
anything.
checking out some of your YouTube. You're in some interesting places, really. And I recently watched that. You was talking about the Conjuring House. Was it the
Yeah,
Conjuring? Yeah.
I did an episode on that, and I commented on that because I was really that that bugs me. It
Mhm.
bugs me how that was handled. So I wanted to tune into the energy of that and steer it in what I felt like was an ethical direction.
One thing I found intriguing for you, which is probably something you'd really be into, you just spoke about Fred and Rose West as well.
Yes.
Episode there. I've recently done my own like podcast episode on that, and I've released a lot of like the police interview tapes, the police worn body camera. There's a lot that I'll put into the video. TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube won't allow me to post it, but it's on Spotify if you do want to check that out. It's an
Okay.
interesting watch, you would say so. So myself, most of my stuff's rubbish, but that was pretty good. But
Yeah.
what are you into the true crime and all that as well? Then are you?
Oh my God. Yes, I'm so much into true crime. I love like if I'm not doing something paranormal, I'm diving into true crime.
Yeah.
Um, Especially things like a historical true crime. Um, I'm currently kind of trying to figure out how to get to the Velisca Axe murder house to try to
I've been there
tune into
myself.
that. I really wanted to get in that because I have theories about what happened and who and um,
Hmm.
that. Yeah, I'm really interested in that, and I feel like that is part of my calling where I can come in and actually like almost help
Do
the
you, do
spirits that have
you
been
know?
affected by this.
I went there about 5 years ago. 'Cause my brother lives in America, so I'll do travel over when we can. And we went to the Villisca House, and it was just a tour thing we was doing, and it was just us in there. And I went upstairs into the kids' room, and it was literally just me. I wasn't doing nothing paranormal or anything like that. And there's a little kid's chalkboard, and it says something like, "Are you here with me?" And it had a Y and slash and an N for like no. I just turned around, looked in the cupboard, turned back around. Literally 5 seconds later, and there's a circle around the Y,
Hmm.
and I found that crazy. And I literally I ran out, checked the rooms, checked the top of the stairs. There was nobody else there.
Nobody.
Like I wish I was more into my paranormal side back then, and because I'd have had a camera recording everything. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's an eerie place, especially having all the mirrors covered, and it is a
Yeah.
very eerie place.
Well, with that, they're being respectful to the time, and that was the beliefs that the Moors had. But yeah, I'm really into things like that. But it's because I get to see a side of it that not everybody else sees when I get to connect into it. Maybe right some wrongs along the way as well.
Yeah,
Um, so I have a few sort of dream investigations out there that, and the Velisca is one of them that I'm currently working on getting to.
that's a good play. I've done the McIntyre Villa and the Asher Walton House. That's really good. That's a place where as soon as I walked through the door, it just felt like something staring at me. Really
Well,
weird
I'm
place.
probably this summer I've got arrangements and to go to Manresa Castle up here in Port Townsend, Washington. That has a lot of history behind it.
Oh,
And it looks like that I'm probably going to be teaming up with another team and investigating Saint Ignatius, which is
okay.
that abandoned insane asylum, and it's about 2 hours away from here. So I'm like, this is perfect.
No, I love asylums. We've the only ones we've got are no really like abandoned ones that you shouldn't be in, but
Hmm.
we're being into.
Yeah,
Um, Jumping back to like your medium side of psychic abilities and such as that, do you use them to help people? Do you do like sorry, I lose track of my words when I'm overthinking things. Do you do like where someone can pay to go and see a medium, and do you work like that, or is it just like just paranormal investigations, or
I do
is
work
it a
like
job
that
basically? Is
too.
what I'm saying. Is it a job? I guess.
Yeah, right now it is kind of a side project.
Mhm.
I do. People are able to book um, meet readings with me on the side, and then I also work for an app called Purple Garden. It's just an app you can download, and then you can pick. There's thousands of psychics on there, psychic mediums as well, and you can go and pick and which one you want a reading from, and then request a reading, and I'm on there
Okay.
generally every Monday.
Okay. Perfect. We can share all these links at the end anyway, can't we? And when we post the video. So for people who are skeptical and curious, how would you explain what a psychic medium actually does? I know you kind of touched base at the start there, but you said that you're a mix of both. You say you're more of a
Right.
psychic. So, I mean, does that work in your favor, or does one ability overpower the other that gets you a bit confused at times? Or am I making
It
sense?
it depends on where I'm at and what I'm doing, and where because if I'm investigating, my mediumship skills will take over, and I'll be dealing with nothing but the
Yeah,
the dearly departed. But if I'm in a situation where somebody's struggling with a current life situation, then a lot of times my psychic abilities will take over.
yeah,
But every now and then I'll get a past loved one who wants to come in and just give them words of encouragement, advice, or even how to help them move on at times. So
yeah.
depends on the situation.
And does that happen like you could just be sitting on your sofa and you just feel like someone's in the room with you, or you get strangers come over? I guess like in the spirit
Um,
life.
that has happened occasionally, but I've learned to, when I'm relaxing, when I'm at home, when I'm spending time with my family or doing time for me, I've learned to just put blinders on to that or shut it down, turn it off, because to have that on 24/7 is really
Yeah.
exhausting, and it's impossible to keep up with. Um, so I've learned to shut it down and turn it on when I'm going to be using it,
Okay.
essentially.
So do you see? Is it like just auras you see around people? Like for example, did you see anything around me? Is it like you sense something's here, or is it like I know people see auras, don't they, like the colours around them? Is it called an aura? I
Um,
believe it is.
yeah.
I'm
Some
not too
people are
sure.
better at it than others. That's not something that typically comes with like a psychic ability. I can sometimes, but then there's some people where that's their specific ability, whereas energy reading, specifically with you, I'm seeing like some kind of red floating around, which I deal with red with. I kind of associate red dealing with kind of like feelings of frustration and anger that are just kind of like in the energy field, and
Yeah.
there's a trying to work through that, but there's a certain layer of it that's hard for you to break through at this point in time. But it's I keep on hearing with that like process, because I feel like you're undergoing a big transition in life, and there's like not there's a lot of unknowns, but then there's a lot of knowns at the same time, if that makes sense. You're just in this transition period, and I keep on hearing, especially like a really lovely elderly lady in spirit kind of saying, just go with it and trust it and put one foot in front of the other and don't overthink about the future and don't think too much about the past. Kind of like being more in today kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is where some of that anger and frustration comes in. Does that make sense? I know I just kind of took over and gave a rating for you, but it was like there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, of course. Well, gingers are known to be angry, aren't they? So I guess that's where the red anger comes from. It pops out. But no, yeah, I love listening to different stuff like that. Like, I mean, I'll be a bit controversial here. Some would say and not me, so I'm not being funny like this. But some would say that you mentioned that an elderly lady or an elderly man, everyone knows, you know, an
Right.
elderly lady, fast, you know, do you know what I mean? But I'm guessing the more you speak to someone, the more validation you give them
Right.
as. I suppose it depends what that person in spirit wants to say to you. You can't make them speak on you, so yeah,
Right.
I don't understand it, but there's a lot of controversy, especially like nowadays with mediums and psychics, and I think it's because there's so many fakes amongst
Hmm.
the reals. Do you know what I mean? It's a shame because it does bring a lot of people peace and comfort.
Well, and there's a lot of, how should I say it? There's some infamous psychics out there, some that I love, and
Yeah,
some that I don't like because I feel like the way they come across is, or have come across, is unethical, and a lot of that's where the um, controversy comes from. Um, there's some psychics that have
mhm.
been famous in the past that I don't put 2 cents into anything that I've seen them say or predict.
No, no,
But there are
never.
some that I'm like, wow, okay, and I've experienced it. Like I and I don't feel like television sometimes does them the way they edit it doesn't really do them
Right.
justice
It
because
all says entertainment purposes only, doesn't it? So it's they
right.
they know what's in it anyway.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I've seen the Long Island Medium. I've seen her show, and I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of nice. Yeah, she might be legit. And then my father-in-law had some extra tickets to go see one of Teresa Caputo's shows, so I'm like, okay, I'll go with you. Um, and she was amazing, and she was more connected there than I've ever seen her be on television, and that's just because the way she's been presented.
yeah. It's like over here before the old Ghost Adventures vibe. We had Most Haunted and Derek Acora and the
Hmm.
medium there. I,
Yeah,
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I believe he was let go because he was he wasn't being real.
yeah,
Perhaps he was being told things beforehand or not. I don't know. But like you said, I believe television does ruin it for them. I think they're chasing the money, whereas he might have been legit and seriously knowing things, seeing things, helping people.
right,
But then as soon as you sign that contract, you're also told what to say, told what you can't say. Derek, make sure you're mentioning about this, even if he doesn't believe it. So I
right.
suppose that can really have a big influence. Just to mention, John, on this on your YouTube, you've got like nearly 1,000 subscribers. That's
Close.
that's very,
I'm
very good
close.
going. So is that because you've been on there for a long time, or are you known for like from a different events or stuff like that? Because that's big for YouTube, really, for small creators like myself. I'll never expect to get over 100, so that is
Right.
something to look forward to. Look good for.
Well, I have been on YouTube for the longest time, and for the longest time, I was just doing, like tarot card pulls and stuff like that, and I wasn't really putting a lot of kind of like energy and work into it. And then over the last 6 or 7 months, I started really putting energy and focus into it, and it just kind of took off to the point where I'm so close to being able to monetize the channel.
Yeah,
Um, and that's what I'm hoping to get, so that way I can do this more and help more people on my time.
that's it.
So
So
yeah,
anyone who's listening, what's your channel? What's the actual name? Do you want to tell people can find you?
the spirit connection.
Just the Spirit Connection. That's all they got
Yes.
to type in, yeah.
Yeah.
And the front of this video, when it does come out, folks, you will see Jean's logo, and that's what you'll be looking for. I'm guessing that is your profile picture, the one that you
Yes.
sent me. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we'll make sure we get you to 1,000.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so so I wrote a few questions down. What does it feel like when a spirit is trying to communicate to you? Do you feel them come into the room, or do you feel like is it like a tap on the shoulder, or are you being nudged, or is it just like in
It
your head you're being told it? How's it work?
it kind of depends. I feel like it's more like depends on the urgency of the situation. Whenever they're coming through with like an urgent message or really want to be heard, I almost feel kind of like I'm in my head's in a pressure can, and
Yeah,
it's just kind of being pressure from the outside going in. there are times where I feel like my crown chakra, like it just starts going off, like tingling and feeling like someone just kind of basically rung a bell on top of my head. Um, and then sometimes it's depending on like a lot of times, especially in cemeteries, I feel it in my heart chakra because there's emotion there and there's
Yeah.
emotion behind it. So it's kind of more of a feeling than anything.
When you say they
So
just like kind of come and just like speak to you straight away, in my head when you mentioned that, then I was thinking of you watched the Sixth Sense film with Bruce Willis.
yeah, yeah,
You know, the angry spirit, like when I can just picture the scream and then like hello. Do you ever have you
yeah.
ever had anything angry like that? Like that's shook you?
No, no, actually, I haven't. Although that was a great movie, that was definitely
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
a good film.
dramatized. But I've
You should
had
scare
it
me.
come. I have it come through like in waves of emotion, like in waves of almost like sadness or waves of like urgency.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm looking around like I don't know why I'm feeling like so anxious, but it's definitely how they're making me feel.
No, and it goes back to like when you talk about how people have got different abilities. I wouldn't say I've got no ability at all, but from all the investigations I've done, private home investigations and all that, I find I can just walk into a building totally fine, walk into the living room fine, the kitchen fine, stairs fine, and a random room like the bathroom, I just feel sadness. Like
Hmm.
bathroom, bedroom, whatever. But there's always that one room I can walk everywhere. I can just say this is where it's going to kind of kick off tonight with the equipment. I just
Yeah,
feel. Oh, I mean, would
yeah,
you say
definitely.
that's like abilities that, like I say, I wouldn't class it as an ability, but would you say everyone's got that kind of thing, like their own little ability? I suppose is the word.
Kind of like in
But
intuition, kind of
yeah,
like
kind of.
yeah,
Has
yeah,
everyone
definitely. I
got
feel like
some sort of ability about them?
I believe people are born with abilities. It's just about how much they want to tap into them, or how willing they are to accept them, or how willing they are to deconstruct what they've learned. I feel a lot of people that grow up in like kind of black and white, strict religious houses kind of learn to shut that off,
Yeah.
um, because they're taught that it's not normal when
Yeah.
actually it is. So,
It's normally them
yeah,
people that tell you, don't mess with the Ouija boards and all that. Don't mess with this. Don't say that. Don't say you heard that ghost over there or
everything's a
whatever.
demon. Yeah, you're talking to
Yeah,
demons. Yeah,
but that's them saying it's normally like your parents and grandparents where they're saying like, "Oh, I don't believe in none of that rubbish," but yet you're scared for me to use a Ouija board. If you don't
right,
believe in it, what's the fear? So then that
right.
makes me think: did they have experiences themselves when they were younger, and they just don't want it to be passed on, or are they just skeptical as such? I don't know.
Well, and a lot of our experiences are kind of filtered through our own fears and what we know, what we've learned. And I feel like that's where a lot of people come from. They filter it through fear,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. Have you ever had a spirit come through that's like frightened you at all? Like with what maybe not in like angry or being nasty spirit, but from what they've said. Like has any a spirit ever come to you and relayed a message you needed to pass on to someone else, which was like something you really didn't want to tell them? Maybe it's something they've done, or maybe it's like something that's going to happen to them. Or
Yeah,
obviously, I don't expect you to tell me what it is, but just wondering if you've ever experienced that.
yeah, and it has to do with like health related issues
Mm,
that nobody would want to hear. So I have to put it in a way that would help them learn how to deal with it, cope with it, and even go through whatever medical treatment it was. Yes, I've had that happen.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not an easy thing to relay.
It's not. It's not. So and then I walk away feeling like, oh God, why couldn't I just say it? But I'm like, well, why would I want to put I'm not a medical doctor, first of all. And why would I want to ruin that person's day when I'm not a medical doctor and I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm just trying to help them spiritually through it. So I've got to find a way to really word it in a way that would help them cope with it and accept with it, and
Hmm.
get the courage to fight it. You know,
No, definitely. I mean, from your experiences or your beliefs, even, what is the spirit world to you? Is it heaven? Is it like heaven? Is there a heaven, hell, or are they beings, or how do you see like life after death? I guess.
um, it's really interesting, and these are questions that I've asked Spirit, and I've asked them to confirm, like on Spirit boxes, EVPs, even in way they interact with the EMF detector, and I've gotten answers that are on my YouTube. But I've learned to see that heaven, or what we've seen as that higher vibration heaven, is something that exists beside us, just on a different vibration, which it makes it easier for me to understand how can spirits come to and forth so easily. It's like just a higher vibration, a higher level of understanding. It's like slipping from one layer of clothes into another. We're slipping into a different form that we've already existed in. We were just never able to see. Like we
Yeah.
can't see oxygen or air, but we know it's there because we we
So
use
you
it
so
to
you'd say
breathe it
like
in.
we're like our spirit is just wearing us,
Yeah,
wearing us as a body. Okay, got you. I've heard that
yeah,
theory before, so it is quite interesting.
yeah, and it's something I've really learned. I've come to try to understand recently is heaven and even hell is kind of our own guilt, our own shame, and our own perceptions. The movie that has gotten it the most correct is, you ever seen that Robin Williams movie, What Dreams May Come? Came
Think
out in the
think so.
late night mid 90s, and that is the most accurate representation of heaven and hell. Heaven, hell was something that somebody places themselves in with their own guilt, their own consciousness, their own fears. And heaven is something that, when we're with our loved ones and we've gotten and risen past that, it's what we think that would be once we've gotten past all those issues.
So almost
Um,
like then, kind of like if you're suffering yourself with like depression and that's like your hell, and when you overcome that, you're living your life again. You're like heaven, peace
yeah,
out. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
got you. Yeah, makes sense. Uh, yeah. Okay, so since my podcast mainly focuses on like spirits and paranormal, do you strongly believe that ghosts and spirits are the same thing, or are they different?
And
Because I ask that because you're talking about obviously like like almost like the soul leaving your body, leaving that clothing behind. Is that a spirit? Is it a ghost? Or is it the same? A
I
lot of
think they're
people
the
ask that.
same. It's just different terminologies. Um, so it's essentially the same thing. I think it's just all how depend on people look at it. I do tend to like sort of lean towards ghost or more residual energy, that
Mhm.
kind of just like the stone tape theory, just or imprints in time, where spirits or something that have more been more involved. But I do sometimes use the labels interchangeably. Um, so they're kind of the same thing, but I can kind of lean more towards residual energy is more ghost, where spiritual energy is more, the intelligent energy that we interact with.
So I think you're leaning on the side where mm, you wouldn't necessarily say ghost or spirit. You'd generally say energy.
Yeah,
So I can't put it. So apologies. I said at the start. I overthink things and I get my words mixed up. So if
yeah,
someone's
yeah,
got
yeah.
an haunting, someone's got an haunting. Let's say, for example, the Amityville House, right? So let's say that's haunted by wherever it may be, the people that were there before. I don't really know the story ins and outs. So you're saying it's not really a ghost; it's just bad energy. I mean, it gets really confusing for me. I do apologise.
Um,
I don't really know how to.
well, with like the Amityville thing, I have you ever seen that? There was an episode of Kindred Spirits with Amy Rooney and Adam Berry, where they came up with it, and Chip Coffey was in on this too. Where they came up with this. It was like experiment. where they put a lot of energy into the story. They came up with the story of Zombie Boy, of like he was mutilated in a farm accident, Civil War, and they put a lot of thought and energy into this. And there was something about the elements of the environment that was just right, where it recorded that energy. So whenever they call Chip Coffey across the United States starts coming into, like, he starts picking up on the same things. And then they ask questions of the spirit that's allegedly there. And then it comes back on EVP what they had put the intentions into. So it's kind of like, it's wherever you focus your energy. And if you focus a lot of fear and anxiety and things like that on something, that can create its own kind of intelligent haunting. But it's not really spiritual energy. It's just energy that has been put there, and
Yeah.
kind of like by own human trauma.
I suppose it's a tricky one, really, isn't it? Until we experience it ourselves, it's like you're never
Right.
really going to know, or it was just assumptions what we got, really.
Yeah, and I feel like, I always tell people, well, what if everybody's right? And what if, um, that there's, even though we believe different things, they couldn't seem more vast. What if everybody is right? Because what if there's a multiverse of the
Yeah,
way
like
heaven is?
reincarnations. What if some people come back as pets, some people come back as spirits? It could be anything, can it?
Right.
We don't know.
And yeah, it's just like, what if we're all right? Why are we arguing about it?
No, it's like I say, it's a
Kind of
question we'll
thing.
never know, but I'd rather believe in all that than believe that there's
Right.
just nothing at all. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and you know, I'll discuss this. This is on my YouTube and TikTok, but like last weekend, I went to, you ever had those locations that you feel like a kindred connection to, and you don't know why, and you keep going back to them because you're just feeling connected to them?
Yeah.
There's two local cemeteries that both me and my friends feel the same way about, and one of them, it's abandoned cemetery. Some of the stones are still there. Some of the stones have been desecrated, but it's been abandoned. And then another one but there's a lot of pioneers and early settlers there, and they're about 20, 30 miles apart. So we keep going back. But this weekend, we went back and brought them gifts. We brought them flowers, bought the guys coins and the kids toys and things like that. And we were talking to them. And on one of them, I gave him a coin that I had found with an eagle on it. And I only had one. And so you can see on camera us giving it to him, saying, "Hey, thank you." And we played him some music because previously he had told me he liked Patsy Cline. So we played Patsy Cline, and you can hear him on EVP and Spirit Box say yes and thank you and please when that music came up.
Oh.
So we gave him the coin, we said thank you, and we went to the different cemetery. And out of nowhere, so I'm pulling stuff out of the bag, and there's that coin, and I only had one of them. And I know I only had one of these coins because I made sure of it. I specifically thought of that spirit. I grabbed that coin and I put it in a bag and to put it in my pocket later. So I only had one, but it pops up on this different cemetery 30 miles away when I know that it was laid on that guy's, on his, and then he comes through on the EVP box and EVPs, spirit box and EVPs on that other cemetery of wanting to give it to another spirit there. So I'm like, well, how do you know her? So that it kind of blew my mind. And it's coming up with a lot of questions of, well, one, how did that coin just sort of teleport itself into my bag 20 miles away? But it's also kind of showing me how people that are from different centuries, how are we all connected in the spirit world? So like, why would he wanted this coin to give to somebody else? What, kind of thing. So it's kind of started to bring up a lot of questions for me.
Did you ever look into that, like whether there was any connection with these in life, like when they was alive at all?
I started to a little bit. I haven't had time to dig into it. I just know that the the spirit that we had left the coin for was in Vietnam, which is why I thought of the eagle of him. And he died in 2004, and he was born in, I think, 1948. But the other spirit that he wanted to leave the coin for she passed away in 1907 and was born in like the 1850s. So I haven't been able to find any paper trail, a paper connection between the two of them.
Oh.
So I'm trying to figure it out. So stay tuned on that one. But
It's
it
interesting.
really blew my mind. It really blew my mind. What's even blew my mind even more is that you can hear him on the spirit box respond to us playing music to him that he had told me before in different sessions that he likes. And yeah, it was
That's it.
so interesting.
There's some things that you just can't explain. I think that's the beauty about like paranormal and the afterlife and
Yeah.
all that. Have you ever communicated with a spirit where they didn't realise they were dead? Really didn't realise they had passed?
No, I haven't run into that. And it is just particularly my opinion that when spirits always know that they passed, whether it's shocking or fast or not, you kind of know that they passed. And I sometimes I feel like whenever people say that, they put their ego into it to help them sort of pass on. But
a lot of like, I say mediums I watch on TV and YouTube and stuff. They spoke about, well, this spirit didn't realise he'd passed and all that, and then it got me thinking to like residual energies, where the spirit does the same thing that it always did day in day out in life, like might be
right.
At the cooker every day at a certain time or whatever. If a spirit would have known it had passed, why would it still be doing exactly the same thing, do you think?
I think that because it brings them comfort and it's what they know, and it was their happy place.
Or maybe they still see their family and what everything was happening at that time
Yeah.
still around them, do you think?
Yeah, but I also think that multiple things can happen at the same time. Like a spirit can appear to be residual energy, but also at the same time be in the spirit world. Because my question is, what if energy, whenever we die, our energy disperses a little bit, and the soul goes up to the heaven, and then we've got this other energy that just kind of plays itself out. So I think that happens a lot. I also feel like sometimes when spirits communicate to certain mediums, or even people, whatever, that there's that discernment that hasn't been quite, I want to say, developed yet.
Yeah.
Discerning on what the message is, and tuning it into it a little bit more, and not just assuming that this is the message that's actually right. There's a lot of discernment that needs to develop and happen.
So tricky, isn't it? Because like I said earlier, you're never really going to know until you're with them, basically.
Right.
But people like yourself, it's got psychic abilities and can working mediumships and all that. You're going to get the most pressure from people because
Right.
they're going to be asking you, because that's what you do. So
Right.
is that annoying for you sometimes? Like, do you get people like coming up to you, can you tell me this, tell me that? Can you speak to him? Can you tell her?
It depends on how they come at me. If they come at me with the truly kind of like wanting to heal type energy and vibe, I don't mind at all. But if they come with me with an expectation and a demand, then I'm not gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
If you want me to help you, you can't just expect it out of me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if someone, I'm near the end of what I wrote down, to be honest with you, but if someone wanted to try connecting with their loved ones and they didn't want to go to a psychic or a medium, what advice would you give them to, to
I
try and
would
speak to them?
to actually do that. I would say like, one, don't be patient with them. Be patient with yourself. It may not happen right away. It always happens in the time that is meant to happen.
Hmm.
Also, I would say just kind of do things like before you go to bed, make sure everything's quiet and still. Take a few deep breaths and just speak to them. And whatever answers you get first, trust it. I feel a lot of people connect to spirit, but don't trust the answers that they get
Just
because,
have that belief, that bit of belief.
right, it's logical. Or ask them to come through to you in a dream, because that's where it tends to be easier to believe and easier to communicate with them for a lot of people. And don't be impatient if it doesn't happen right away. Just understand it'll happen whenever it's meant to
Yeah.
happen, not when you think it should happen.
I don't know if it's the
Yeah.
same in the States, but over here, a lot of people believe that when they see a little red-chested robin, they believe that's a loved one
Well,
that's come down. I don't know if it's the same theory over there, but
yeah, it is. And
like, there's a lot of people. A lot of people get a lot of comfort from that. Like, surprisingly,
and with pennies, and I always tell my loved ones that well, hey, whenever I come back, if I happen to die and come back, you're gonna know, because I'm gonna come back as a stray animal that comes up to your door and just
yeah,
kind of looks at you, and you're gonna have a feeling and knowing that it's me. So there's things like that I hear
yes.
people. It happens a lot. You know, pennies
Okay,
is a big
nice.
one. People will
Sure.
just get random pennies out of nowhere.
Yeah, I used to hear that about that when I was a kid, but not really. It's not really a thing that people talk about much anymore. The pennies over here, anyway.
Yeah, it happens. I hear it quite a bit over here.
Well,
Pennies and robins and doves.
and what doves? Like
Doves.
the bird.
Yeah,
Right, okay. I thought you
yeah,
said
like
dogs.
a
I was
white
like,
dove. Yeah.
no, got you. Oh, yeah, the last question I've really got to ask him, really, Sean, is what message do you think the spirits would want the living to understand if they could just say?
Um, that we're all okay. That there's no suffering on the other side. You know, nobody ever stays stuck. Nobody, in spirit. Nobody ever suffers in spirit. Just because some random scammer has told you on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Because whenever we pass over, we don't suffer.
Yeah,
The spirit doesn't suffer. It's the people on earth that are grieving and that are suffering. And just kind of understand that all the problems have been left behind.
and that, like you say, about the people on Earth, they're the ones that are suffering. Maybe that's why when people pass, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Dad's been here. He's moved my cup again," or "Mum was here. She's chucked the pillow on the floor." That could well be them just letting them know we know you're suffering.
That they're here.
Just let you know we're here. And I
Well,
think
I'll
it's a nice thought.
I'll give you an example. So my soul dog passed away about a year and a half ago, and a year before that, I lost another dog that I had for a long time. And so I was really in a deep depression about that. And there was one time they clearly claimed through to me, and they said, "Well, we're not going to come around for a little while, but whenever and it's not because we're not here. It's just because you need to, be without us for a minute to
Yeah,
sort of heal and move forward." And they also said, whenever we come back, we'll come back big and you'll know it. And then sure enough, about 6 months later, they come through and on EVP and in picture. I'm taking a picture of this location, and boom, there my spirit dog is. And you can see him quite clearly in spirit, outlined, colors and everything.
yeah.
And that was kind of comforting, and that helped me heal even more.
No, that's nice. That is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. But I mean, on that note, we've ended on a good positive vibe. Is there anything that you'd
Yeah.
like to say or talk about, John, at all before you do go?
I just, for people that are skeptical in the paranormal, even people that want to get into the paranormal, always be willing to challenge what you've been taught. Always be willing to challenge what you believe, and be willing to accept that maybe things are a little bit different than what you've thought you've known, and
Yeah,
open up your mind to possibilities. Open up your mind to things that aren't logical, and find the beauty in everything that you do, because that's the thing about the paranormal field. I find beauty in every single location and spirit that I've connected with, and it gives me the strength to go on and do the next one. You know,
no, that's good.
so yeah,
No, well, thank you for joining us. And if you guys that are listening want to search up John, it's the Spirit Connection, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, and something
Instagram,
else. That's it, Instagram. Yeah,
Instagram.
that's the one. That's the one main platform I don't bother with for some reason. It's supposed to be like the best one to do stuff on as well, isn't it? Instagram.
I haven't caught on as much on Instagram as I have TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. So
No,
So I'm gonna keep on plugging away at it. Reach whoever I can.
no, and me. Well, thank you again, and hopefully we can get you back on for a part 2 in the future.
Anytime.
Maybe I know straight away what the British public, the British people, the British watchers that are listening will ask straight away. They'll want a live Facebook thing with you. And over here, we like a lot of tarot readings and stuff like that. So I don't know if you'd ever be willing to maybe do a
Absolutely.
couple.
Got my
There
Yep,
we go.
I'd be totally willing to do it.
So
Always
if
keep my
you,
cards in hand.
no, perfect. Well, if you lot that are listening do want that to happen, please comment in the comment sections, whether it be on YouTube or Spotify, or let us know on Facebook. Any questions you want to ask Sean, message me, I can forward them on, or message a direct, or just save them for when we do the live if you do want us to. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
absolutely.
again. And yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.